Bruce Lee is remembered for many things: his blazing speed, his charisma, and, of course, the incomparable force behind a single punch or kick. But beneath the dazzling showmanship, what truly set Bruce Lee apart wasn't just his physical prowess, but a philosophy, a way of understanding and practicing martial arts that would forever change how people thought about combat. To understand why Jeet Kune Do was such a revolutionary leap, we have to first look at what came before. Martial arts, as practiced for centuries across the world, were traditionally rooted in systems. Karate, kung fu, judo, and countless other styles each had rigid forms and sets of techniques, passed down from master to student, rarely questioned, endlessly repeated. In these dojos and training halls, precision meant conforming to the system, and success was measured by mastery of the style's established moves. Bruce Lee didn't just challenge this orthodoxy, he exploded it. He saw a fundamental problem. In real combat, rigid adherence to style could become a liability. Techniques that worked against a cooperative training partner might fail in the chaos and unpredictability of a true fight. In Lee's own words, traditional martial arts were like swimming on dry land. Real fighting demanded flexibility, instinct, and above all, freedom. Enter Jeet Kune Do. The name, translating as Way of the Intercepting Fist, was more than just a title. It was a mission statement. Lee's technique emphasized intercepting an opponent's attack at the source, shutting it down before it could become a threat. But beyond the techniques, the signature straight lead punch, the economic use of kicks, the emphasis on simplicity, Jeet Kune Do's true innovation lay in its philosophy. At the heart of Jeet Kune Do is a simple but radical idea. Absorb what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own. This may sound straightforward, but for the martial arts world of the 1960s, it was close to heresy. Lee advocated for a kind of combat minimalism. Why use 5 moves when one is enough? Why cling to tradition when effectiveness is at stake? In that sense, Jeet Kune Do is less a fixed style and more a process of constant refinement, a living, breathing philosophy of combat. Take a closer look. Lee stripped away traditional stances and rituals, preferring a fluid, upright guard inspired by Western boxing and fencing. He advocated for directness and efficiency, a swift kick to the knee, a sudden jab, an explosive jab cross. But Lee also blended techniques from any combative discipline, from wrestling to eskrima to street fighting. If a trick or tactic worked, he would use it. If not, he left it behind. But perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of Jeet Kune Do was its embrace of adaptability. Instead of training students to respond in preset patterns, Lee emphasized reading the situation and improvising in the moment. Conscious thought was too slow. The body had to flow, instantly and intuitively. In Lee's own metaphor, be water, my friend. Water adapts to the container. So too should the fighter adapt to the opponent and to the circumstances. This vision extended beyond technique. Jeet Kune Do was also about mental clarity, awareness, and the stripping away of ego, removing what Lee called the classical mess that clouded a true understanding of combat. By encouraging practitioners to question received wisdom, Lee turned martial arts into a path for self-discovery, not just a physical discipline. The impact of Jeet Kune Do was seismic. Suddenly, martial artists all over the world questioned why they trained the way they did. Concepts we now take for granted cross-training, the blending of styles, a search for effective simplicity, were all pioneered by Bruce Lee's philosophy. Mixed martial arts, as we know it today, owes a debt to Jeet Kune's example of combining the best of every school. Jeet Kune also shattered cultural barriers. Lee distilled elements of both Eastern and Western combat, breaking down boundaries between East and West, thinking globally long before globalization became a buzzword. In the end, Jeet Kune's greatest revolution wasn't a single kick, punch, or technique. It was Bruce Lee's insistence that no art, no tradition, and no authority should stand in the way of what works. By freeing martial arts from the shackles of dogma and inviting practitioners to think, test, and adapt, Lee empowered generations of fighters and thinkers to chart their own path. So while the image of Bruce Lee, feet flashing, fists blurring, is forever seared in our memory, what truly endures is his challenge. Don't follow in anyone else's footsteps. Don't be trapped by style. In combat, as in life, be water, constantly growing, adapting, and flowing toward what works best for you. That is the true legacy and revolution of Jeet Kune.